Well, hello! Guess what? It's movie review time! Brad's classic and vintage movies. That's right. I like to review older movies. A lot of movies that maybe you haven't seen or heard of, especially the younger people. But I don't go way back into the 40s and 50s and 30s and 60s even. I try to stay in the 70s, 80s, 90s, maybe even in thousands. So, this particular movie is called The Replacement Killer. Killers, okay? This is a movie, it's got Chow Yun-fat, and it's got Mariah Sorvino in it. Mariah was a 1985 Best Supporting Actress, and this is Chow Yun-fat's debut movie with Hollywood. This movie is it's called The Replacement Killers. It's a fierce, take my glasses off so I can read. It's a fierce and explosive action thriller. Alright, this movie is about after he betrays Mr. Wu, it's W-E-I, Mr. Wee or Wu, the relentless crime boss, so Mr. Wee or whatever his exact name is, he's a crime boss, but he's like a mafia crime boss. He runs the Chinese mafia. Alright. The crime boss who hired him to avenge his son's death, the professional killer John Lee, that's who Chow Yun-fat is, goes on the run, enlisting the aid of a beautiful document forger, Meg Coburn, that's who Mariah is. Okay. Lee attempts to return to his family in China before they are victimized by his betrayer. But Wee's army of replacement killers is hot on his trail, and now both he and Meg are targets of their impressive firepower. With both sides fully armed and determined to fight to the death, an ultra-violent shootout breaks out when they finally face off against each other. So it's a seamless fusion of Hong Kong's action adventure style and cool. So that will blow everyone away, including you. There's the back side of it. I'm sure some of you have seen it, but if you haven't, it's a pretty good movie to go ahead and put on your list to see. It was 1997 this movie came out. So yeah, it's 20 years old now. You really wouldn't know it though. It's done pretty well. And yeah, the vehicles are older, you can tell. If I didn't say that, you probably wouldn't even you made the contact there, the idea of it. But anyway, it starts out, there's a drug deal going down and the cops are monitoring it, and there's a Chinese guy who's in charge of the drug deal, and as soon as he samples the drugs and everything, the cops come out. Well, there's a shootout, and the guy who was doing the drug deal escapes and doesn't get away completely. They track him down. Well, this one lieutenant, or detective I should say, this one detective, I can't remember his name in the show, but he's in this quite a bit. You'll see him on and off. He ends up cornering him up high, and he warns him, don't do it. Well, the guy pulls the gun towards him anyway, so he has to shoot him and kills him. Well, this is Mr. Wu or Wee's son. Well, this mafioso is not going to take that crap. So at the funeral, the detective, he's kind of way back, he shows up giving his respects, even though he killed him. And Mr. Wu didn't like that at all. And he talks smack to him, and Mr. Wu's bodyguard talks smack. Basically, Mr. Wu wants him dead, or I should say wants his son dead. He wants him to suffer like he suffered, so he wants his son assassinated. So he hires John Lee. Now John Lee's already done 2 jobs for him. It starts out after the drug deal. I can't remember if it was before or after the drug deal. It shows John Lee in a bar, takes a bullet. The bullets are got Oriental writing on them, you know, it's like it's got your name on it, and he sets it on the table, and then he ends up killing this guy in the bar and all of his bodyguards. So that was like his second assassination. Well, he's assassinating these people, but he's doing it against his will, because Mr. Wu has his family basically, if you don't do it for me, I will kill your family. And his family's in China, so he doesn't really have them, but he knows exactly where they are, and if you don't do what I want you to do, I'll go kill your family. So he has to do that, the assassinations for him. But he tells him this time, he says, if you do this one for me, you're free and clear. So he goes to do the job, and he gets the scope on the boy, and he just can't do it. Well, from that point on, now Mr. Wu is pissed off, so he sends assassins after him. So John Lee is his name, Chow Yun-fat's name in this movie. John Lee goes to Meg, who is the document forger. He needs a passport. Well, before he can get the passport, Mr. Wu's, some of his assassins show up to try and kill him. Well, there's a big shootout in Meg's apartment, and all of her equipment and stuff's all shot up and blown up, and ends up that he gets away, but the cops show up. He ended up killing 4 of Mr. Wu's assassins, but she gets caught up by the cops. So they question her, and you know, she's got a little bit of a past, but basically they let her go as bait, kind of. Well, when she goes back to the apartment to get a few things, John Lee's there. He kind of forces her to go with him. He still needs his passport. So she's, from this point on, she's in the movie almost the whole time with him. And it goes on. It gets pretty in-depth. Mr. Lee, or Wee, hires some outside assassins to come in, because every time his people try to kill him, John Lee gets away and kills a bunch of his men. So they hired some outside killers, and it gets pretty deep with some shootouts in a theater where the lieutenant and his boy were there. And at that time, John Lee and Meg ended up showing up right when the assassins were getting ready to kill the son. And all this time, the detective thought John Lee was the bad guy, where he's really not. And at that point he realizes, because he saved, John Lee and Meg saved his son and him. So from that point on, now he's after the assassins along with John Lee and Meg. And it comes to a grand finale, of course. But in between, there's some of John Lee's friends that get killed. A guy that runs a car wash, he gets killed. A guy at like a Buddha sanctuary, who is real close with John Lee. Well, Mr. Wu's people track him down, kill him. There's a little bit of subtitle, but not a lot, because it's all in English except for a couple of things when the Orientals are talking with each other and stuff. So if you can put up with just a little bit, I don't like subtitles either, but in this case, it's doable, definitely doable. So make sure you watch this one, The Replacement Killers. And like I said, it is older, it's 1997, but a lot of you guys, guys and gals, friends and family, probably haven't even heard of it or seen it, since it is an older movie, especially you younger whippersnappers. And I definitely recommended it. It's not a 5-star, but it's probably 3.5, 4 stars. Got a lot of action, and I like him anyway. Chow Yun-fat, he's good. So give it a try. Check it out. So Mr. No Guts, No Glory, Let Go, Let God, this is Brad's Vintage and Classic Movie Review. Hope you enjoyed it. Check it out. Get some popcorn, some soda, and enjoy. See you later. Bye.